What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Mike and this is Mathematics Swords. Now, as you can see, this is not a sword. This is a folding knife. Now, if you watched my last video, you'll know that I'm trying to add a new element into my channel, and that is talking knives and reviewing knives and showing off my knife collection and just trying to get involved in the knife community a little bit. So yeah, that's where I'm going here. This is my very first knife review, and so I appreciate you coming by and checking out my channel. Now, just real quick, if you're not into knives and you just want to watch the sword stuff, dude, I totally get it. Not everyone is into knives, and most of the people come to my channel for swords. And I will be doing sword reviews. This is just my first knife review. If you're into knives, great, thanks for coming by. I have a knife review for you, and if you check out my sword reviews, because I also do that too. You might find that very interesting. Okay, all right, so let's get on with the knife review. Just real quick, you know, this mat right here I got from Blade HQ. It was a freebie when I made some knife purchases there. It's this is the Boker Knives symbol. This mat is really cool for you know, working on your knives, taking them apart and cleaning them, because it has all of these little compartments here which can hold small parts, and it's very grippy so that you don't lose anything. So anyway, just thought I would throw that out there. That's what this is. That's what this symbol is. It's the Boker Knives symbol, or one of their logos, I think. Sorry, I'm just having some coffee out of my wife's Snoopy mug. Anyway, so my first knife review, here we go. So this is the SOG or SOG Terminus XR knife. I've been EDCing this knife for a while now, and I thought I would give my final opinion, or my you know, just tell you guys a little bit about it. So if you're interested in buying one of these, that you can hear what I have to say about it and go from there. So this knife comes in at $54.95. I will put a link down in the description below as to where I got it. I get most of my knives from Blade HQ, and, you know, from Knife Center as well, but there are a lot of knife retailers on the internet. So, you know, get it where you want, for whatever price you want. But I think Blade HQ is awesome, so I'm just going to throw a link down in the description below to this particular knife. And I do believe it is available right now. And a lot like the sword world, things sometimes are out of stock and not available, and popular knives, just like popular swords, sell out quick, and you just kind of have to hop on it and wait for a restock. It's just kind of like the signs of the times that we're living in right now, with supply chain issues and labor and whatnot. So if it's not in stock, wait a little bit and you'll probably be able to get it. But this knife is actually, the last time I checked, is in stock. Okay, so what are we looking at here? So this is a, well, it's a standard pocket folding knife, but it has some really cool features. First of all, it does have a flipper tab, and it also has a deployment method using thumb studs. So there's two different ways of deploying this knife. And as you can see, the blade is sort of a classic drop point design. It has a swedge here. It has a saber grind, which is, you know, this particular grind right here. There's a lot of height to this grind, so it's actually really cool. And it is coming in with what D2 steel, or what SOG calls cryo D2. I believe the cryo refers to their particular type of heat treatment, but just know that this is D2 steel. And so the blade shape is pretty classic. There's really not a whole lot of uniqueness around it, but it is a very good blade shape. It does have some jimping up here for you when you're gripping the knife to sort of get some extra traction there. Scales on this thing are red G10. It's sort of like a, I don't know if you can really see it here, but in certain lights you can actually, there's a little bit of transparency in these particular scales. And I actually really like the color. It's one of the things that really drove me to, you know, it's one of the things I really like about the knife is the color and the G10. It's not like that really grippy G10. It's actually quite smooth, but it does, you can see it does have some texturing to it. There's a little bit of contouring here. and here, which help with the ergos of the knife. And I will say that the thing is extremely comfortable. And we're gonna, especially in this particular grip right here. This right here is not really a choil, but as you can see, the flipper tab does kind of act as another spot where you can actually choke up on the knife and grab that jimping, and that is an extremely comfortable cutting position, and it's actually the way I prefer to use this knife. So that's actually very, very good. You have full steel liners and a deep pocket carry clip. You can see it comes all the way up here. So this thing rides very, very deep in the pocket. So we're going to talk about this clip in a minute because it does have some problems. And there you can see there's some billboarding on the pocket clip, SOG. Some people don't mind this, some people do, and I'll talk about that in a second. But overall, there you go. The weight on this knife is 3.4 ounces, so it's not a particularly lightweight knife. The length of the blade comes in at 3 inches, so it's a sweet spot, I think, for a knife blade, an EDC knife blade. 3 inches is, like, I would say, perfect for me. Some people might want something bigger, some people might want something smaller, but for me, 3 inches is perfect. 3 1/4 is really like the biggest type of blade that I like to carry. I mean, I do have blades that are larger than that, and I do EDC larger blades, but 3 inches is perfect for size. And the blade finish is like stonewash, and it's actually it's really cool. You can see it there, some stone washing on the blade. Yes, and the knife came very, very sharp, paper cutting sharp. So yeah, there you go. What else? What else can I say about it? So yeah, I suppose let's get into what I actually think about the knife. Okay, so first of all, it's extremely comfortable. I already said it is like ergonomically speaking, and I think this is probably, besides the blade being a good blade and the ergonomics being, I guess what I'm trying to say is a knife should be comfortable and it should have a good blade, right? Those are two top things that for me are important when I buy a knife or EDC a knife. It's got to be comfortable and the blade has to be good, right? All the other stuff that we're going to talk about is sort of extras or, other considerations. And when we talk about styling and we talk about materials being used, those are other things. But two top things for me. The blade has to be good, it has to work well, right? It has to be functional and function well, and it has to be comfortable to use and handle for prolonged periods of time. And this knife actually satisfies both of those requirements, all right? It has a fantastic blade. I love the blade. Like I said, it's a classic drop point shape. It does kind of have a little bit of a tactical look to it, sort of that survival knife look to it, and that's typical for SOG because they actually make a lot of military style knives, or tactical knives, I should say. So, but great blade. It slices great, it cuts great, it's sharp, and it is made out of D2, which for a budget steel is quite durable, and I actually really do like D2. And like I said, the ergonomics are great. You can actually see here, there's not a lot of, the scales, the handle is quite simple. You know what I mean? It's just simple styling. I like it. It's very basic, but it is very, very comfortable. Okay, so yeah, as far as comfort and blade, fantastic. I actually really like it. Let's talk about deployment. So you have the ability to flick the knife open using the flipper, and then it also has dual thumb studs. So this knife is actually fully ambidextrous. It has a reversible pocket clip, so if you are a lefty, you can move the pocket clip to the other side, and it also has dual thumb studs and the XR lock, which is fully ambidextrous as well. So if you are a lefty, this knife is definitely something that you can pick up and use, no problem. But yeah, thumb stud deployment as well as flipper deployment. Now, I prefer to actually use the thumb studs. I think it actually, misfire. It actually deploys fantastically with the thumb studs. The flipper is okay. It's just, with the action on this knife, I feel like the best way to deploy it is with the thumb studs. Now, that's just my personal opinion. You guys may think a little bit differently, but I love using the thumb studs. Now, going into the action, it's a little bit gritty, I will say. I did oil it. I haven't taken it apart to actually see what it's actually riding on. I think it's riding on washers. I don't think it's a ball bearing pivot, but it is a little bit gritty, I will say. Now, for me in this particular price range, that's not really that big of a deal that the action is slightly gritty. Some people may have an issue with that, and there are other knives in this price range that ride on bearings and are much smoother for opening, but I don't really have a problem with it. Like I said, I wish it were a little bit smoother in opening, but as you can see, it's not a problem and you can do it. So the action is okay. I will say though, it could be better, right? That's definitely something that I wish was an improvement on this blade, on this knife, is the action. The weight, like I said, it's 3.4 ounces. I feel like it's a heavy knife. And there are other options. Like I said, in this price category, there are options that are lighter and slimmer than this knife. So if you're counting ounces and you're worried about having a heavy knife and you really want the lightest possible knife in this price range, this may not be for you, because it is kind of a weighty knife. I do have to say, it's very solidly built, and SOG does a great job with their build quality, but it is a solid knife, and it has these full steel liners that come right up to the edge of the scales. So I think this is a big reason why this knife is actually the weight that it is that these liners are quite thick and sturdy, and they do come right to the edge. If they were thinner and actually inset into the G10 like a lot of companies do, I think this knife would actually be a lot lighter. Maybe shave 0.5 ounces or something like that. But as it is, it's not too bad. If you like a sturdy build, if you like a sturdy feeling knife, then you're not going to have a problem with it. If you want something lightweight, this may not be the option for you, because it is a weighty, solid knife. Like I said, not overweight, but weighty. So that's one thing I would say. Now, the pocket clip. Now, this is a point of contention for me with this pocket clip. Now, as you can see, it is a super deep pocket carry, which deep pocket carry is something that is a deal breaker for some people. If the knife doesn't have a deep pocket carry, then they really don't like it. For me, I don't care so much if it's deep pocket or if it's, just a standard depth pocket clip. It doesn't really matter for me. I do prefer deep pocket carry. And this is super deep. I mean, you can see that this loop comes way up here. So this thing rides very, very deep in your pocket, which is great, right? There is a problem though. And what happens is your pants pocket comes up into here and it rolls over the top here into this area through this gap, right? And what happens is it gets stuck on your pocket as you try to take it out. And that is a big problem because, you want to be able to get the knife out easily, right? You don't want to have to fidget and mess around. And it can be very frustrating if the knife gets stuck in your pocket. And so if you push this thing down and actually utilize this extra space, which is great because it rides deep, you have a very hard time getting the knife out, and you actually have to sort of bend this clip back and pull the knife out at the same time to get it out. So not a good pocket clip design. And the billboarding, the big SOG letters too, it's not really for me. I don't mind it that much, but I know some people who hate this kind of stuff, and so yes, it would be better if they just had a skinnier, plain pocket clip with this deep pocket carry issue satisfied. Now, I will say that the newer versions of this knife, if you go to Blade HQ and check it out, they've actually, I think, solved that problem. The newer versions are coming with a different pocket clip. It's not this pocket clip. It's thinner, and I don't think it has this very, very wide or large deep pocket situation going on. It's a different pocket clip. You can check it out. So it looks like they actually solved that issue. And if weight is an issue for you, they do offer a premium version of this knife. It's called the LTE, the Terminus XR LTE, I think. It's much more expensive. It has an S35 VN blade, and it's lighter. It's carbon fiber scales, and I do think, I'm not sure if it actually, they don't have these liners. So it is a lighter knife. So it's a more premium version. So if you do like this knife, but you have a problem with the weight and you want a better steel and you have a problem with the pocket clip, I think they solved all of that with the LTE option. But I think that goes for like $130. So you're going to pay for those upgrades dearly. And I can see a lot of people not wanting to spend that kind of money. So let's talk about what this knife is great with, and that is the locking mechanism, okay? It says it in the name. It is the XR lock, so the Terminus XR, and that's this locking mechanism right here. All you do is push this down, and the knife sort of disengages. And as you can see, I'm doing it really slow. You can see the locking mechanism there moving back. And then as you deploy the knife, it locks into place. And all you have to do is depress this down and the knife disengages. Now the XR lock is SOG's version of the Access lock, which is Benchmade's proprietary locking system. I think they lost the patent, or the patent for that lock expired, and now other companies are doing it. They've been doing it for a while now, and so the XR lock is SOG's version of it. Now, for me, it is the reason why you want to purchase this knife, right? This locking mechanism is fantastic. I absolutely love it. It kind of reminds me of the Access lock, only it's almost the same thing. I would say it's almost like an assisted version of the Access lock, because when you actually depress the lock, you can see it kicks the blade out a little bit. And so it actually starts the motion for you. So opening and closing with one hand is actually quite easy, and it's one of the things that I really enjoy about this knife. In fact, it is the thing I enjoy most about this knife is the XR lock. This is a fantastic locking mechanism, guys, and what I do think is the big draw of this knife is this locking mechanism, because let's face it, there really isn't anything super special about this knife. Like I said, it has a classic drop point blade. The action is okay. It's got D2 steel, which is everywhere right now. It's a great steel, great budget steel, but it's everywhere. That's not special. The sizing is, pretty standard. The handle design is pretty basic. Let's face it, this looks like a pretty basic knife, but what's not basic about it is the XR lock. And you really are going to have a hard time finding a knife in this price category that has this type of locking mechanism. I can't really think of any that cost less than $60 that have a locking mechanism as awesome as this. I mean, there are those Chinese knockoff brands like Ganzo and stuff that have knives that have Access locks that are, and those knives come in at like $30, $40. Some of them are like $25. But if you want to talk about a good name brand knife that has a good reputation and is offering this type of mechanism on a budget level knife, Man, this locking mechanism is awesome. It's extremely fidgetable. I always take this thing out and just fidget with it and operate this XR lock because it's great. And it gets better the more you use it. It kind of wears in. And so, yes, that to me is the big draw of this knife. That to me is what makes this knife a good knife. So, in my opinion, do I think that this knife is worth it? I would have to say yes. The newer versions have satisfied the pocket clip issue. I don't think they've satisfied the weight issue. I think they still come in at the same weight. But the newer versions have taken care of that pocket clip issue, and you know, they still have the XR lock. And really, man, this XR lock is fantastic. It really is a joy to use. So yeah, in my opinion, it is definitely worth your money. If you're looking for a good budget knife, if you like SOG and you don't want to pay for some of their higher end alternatives, this is a fantastic option for an EDC. And it works well, it cuts great. Edge retention, I've been using it for a while. I haven't had to resharpen it. It's still pretty much paper cutting sharp, and I've been carrying it a lot. I've been using it at work. I've been using it around the house. It really is just a great standard EDC with the ability of having an awesome locking mechanism that is very easy to use. I mean, you can just whip this knife out of your pocket. That is, if it doesn't get stuck with that pocket clip. Perform your duty, shut the knife, put it right back in your pocket in like 2 seconds. It's fantastic, and it's very, very comfortable to use, and I really enjoy it. So, is it the best knife in this category? I don't know, probably not. I can think of some other options that I would rather have other than this, but if you like the styling, if you like SOG, I think it's a fantastic option. Just make sure to get the one that has the updated pocket clip design. So, thanks for coming by, guys. I hope you stuck around and enjoyed this. I got some more knife reviews coming, and of course, I have some more sword reviews coming up. So, thanks a lot. Please leave a like, please subscribe, and until next time, have a fantastic day.